Another tuition hike makes USC one of the most expensive schools in the country. We'll hear from frustrated students.
It kept eating away at me. I was literally just like crying every day, which is, it's so weird because like that's not who I am at all.
A victim speaks out about sexual assault on campus. Find out what USC is doing to raise awareness.
I'm live here at Alumni Park, and if you've been walking around campus and wondered what these shirts behind me are all about, well, I'll tell you about the organization responsible for the event.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
The tuition bill continues to climb higher for USC students. Good evening, I'm Scott Cook.
And I'm Suji Nam. The cost to attend USC next year is going to be one of the highest in the nation. Annenberg Media's Priscilla Casper is here now with more.
Yeah, almost $70,000. That's how much it will cost to go to USC next year as an undergraduate student. I spoke with students who were shocked to hear tuition is rising again. University of Southern California is raising undergraduate tuition by $2,000 for the next school year. The total will now be $69,711. 4 years ago, undergraduate costs were just under $60,000. Fast forward a couple years later, that cost jumps almost $10,000.
It's already high as it is, and it's like there's a lot of people who are struggling, well, like who's around me, struggling to pay for it. And I'm already taking a lot of loans to come to this school, and I feel like if you raise the tuition again, it's like sort of ridiculous.
So I have the presidential half tuition scholarship, but like even with that, with costs rising, there's still just like a big gap that I have to fill in, you know. And it's getting to the point where it's like really difficult. It's like hard on me and my family,
So that would be a burden on my parents, especially since they're sending 3 kids to college.
There was no formal announcement to the students of the increase in undergraduate costs. One student just happened to notice it on the school's financial aid website. USG President Rini Sampas says there needs to be better communication between the university and students.
If we can bridge the gap between the Board of Trustees and the student community, and if we have student representation, I think we can address the root of the problem.
USC released a statement about the increase stating, the university has made great strides in limiting the tuition increases to maintain affordability while increasing services to students. The financial aid office says since this is something that just happened, they have not decided to make changes to scholarships or financial aid just yet. Back to you, Suji.
Tonight, the Women's Student Assembly will hold their second day of workshops for victims and survivors of sexual abuse. Our reporter Kay Ingram is live on campus with more on tonight's event. Kay.
If you're walking on campus, you may have noticed these shirts hanging up behind me here at Alumni Park and wondered what they're all about. Well, they're part of Take Back the Night, a week of events hosted by the Women's Student Assembly at USC. Now, they have a lot of events going on this week, but tonight is their boundary workshop with the Gender Justice LA's Theater of the Oppressed. Now, the goal is to have students come out and express themselves, students who are victims and survivors of sexual abuse, and communicate through movement. Now, for students interested in attending tonight's event, they can go to Levy Library, room 16, from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Live here at Alumni Park, I'm Kay Ingram.
Thanks, Kay. Sexual assault is an issue that is all too commonly found on college campuses. We caught up with a USC student who spoke about her experience and the recovery process. Per her request, we are not revealing her identity.
No one really knew for the longest time. It was just my roommates and my friend. But it kept eating away at me. I was literally just like crying every day, which is, it's so weird because like that's not who I am at all. And eventually it got to the point where like I couldn't be around my family because I didn't know how to kind of fake a smile anymore. It was really hard for a really long time. I was slut shamed incessantly for over a year. Talking about it more and more made me, I guess, feel stronger about the situation. And actually, like, speaking about it, I had a lot of other girls come up to me and confide in me. They'd never told anyone before, they'd never reported it. I just think talking about it is like a huge thing, and just kind of like spreading the word.
At the Oscars on Sunday, singer Lady Gaga performed her song titled "Till It Happens to You," a song about sexual assault on college campuses. During her performance, she was joined on stage by numerous sexual assault victims and survivors. Joining us now is one of those survivors, Paige Sawson. Paige, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So you were a part of Lady Gaga's very moving performance. Tell us a little bit of what that was like.
It was really incredible. I think that when all of us got the call, all the survivors, to participate in this, we were kind of hesitant because none of us had publicly, except for the 12 who had been featured in The Hunting Ground, the film that she and Diane Warren gifted their song to. I think nobody had really talked about it publicly, so it was difficult at first, but then honestly we were met with so much support, and it was such an empowering, awesome performance that I'm so glad that I got to be a part of it.
Now, talking a little bit about that support that you just mentioned, there's been a lot of positive feedback coming from Lady Gaga's performance, but not all of it has been necessarily positive. Speak a little bit about that.
So a lot of the support that we got, or most of it is support. When I got off stage, I already had like 60 messages from people, both family and friends, and people from high school who I really hadn't talked to, saying, you know, that they were proud and that they saw me and that it means a lot. Unfortunately, there are, if you look at comments of like some of the posts about the performance, there are people who still say, you know, Lady Gaga deserved what she got because of her past videos, or pointing specific people out that were on the stage and saying, how could they have been raped? Look at them. And it's awful that this is still thoughts that people are having, because it shows a lack of understanding as to what rape and sexual assault actually is. So while this is great, and while we started a dialogue by doing this, there's still so much that has to be done, including education and awareness, for this cause really to be fixed. Right.
So what advice would you give to someone who maybe wants to help raise awareness for this terrible issue, but maybe doesn't exactly know how because of the sensitivity of the subject matter?
I think that for people who, are you talking about people who have not had it happen to them and still want to help?
Exactly.
I think just showing your support to the cause and showing that you will not victim blame, that you will believe victims who come up and say that they have been assaulted, really is the main thing, which is very easy to do, or so it should seem. However, there's still a lot of stigma attached to it. I know that I personally didn't end up pressing charges because at the time I couldn't do it because I was met with so much opposition and slut shaming. And you'll hear that from every single person who's had this experience. So really, the most important thing to do is really easy. It's just to show your support and to make sure that you're being sensitive to these issues and making people know that you believe them. That's really the most important thing. And then obviously going to things like Take Back the Night, going to, obviously that shows your support as well. But ultimately for your loved ones who this has happened to, because there absolutely are loved ones in your life that this has happened to, whether or not you know it. It's really just being supportive.
Great. Well, Paige, we thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing a little bit about your story. Now, Suji, back to you at the desk.
Hillary Clinton is in New York and Donald Trump traveled too as they both celebrate their big victories from Super Tuesday. Trump remains the front-runner for the Republican Party. Yesterday, he won 7 states and now has 319 delegates. Ted Cruz won 3 states, including his home state of Texas. He has 226 delegates. Marco Rubio only won in Minnesota. He has 110 delegates. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton won 7 states, receiving 595 delegates. Bernie Sanders received 405 delegate votes, winning 4 states, including his state of Vermont.
Neither Donald Trump nor Hillary Clinton locked up their party's nominations on Tuesday night, but both took a giant step forward. And while Bernie Sanders or Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz could still, some way or other, take the nomination away from Clinton or Trump, that kind of turnaround would be historic in nature.
Super Tuesday made me feel that having these big changes happen might not be as possible as I want them to be.
I'm frightened to see what's going to be the outcome of the election.
I just think this is an odd presidential race in all. I mean, just one that we've never seen before.
The Republican candidates are getting ready for tomorrow's debate in Detroit, but Ben Carson says he will not be attending after Super Tuesday. He says he sees no path forward and may soon end his campaign. Protesters rallied outside the Supreme Court today as justices heard arguments about a Texas law. This could significantly reduce the number of abortion clinics in the state.
They've shut down about half of those 41, so we have around 20 now. And this law, if it stands, if these trap laws stand, then it'll probably shut down about half of those. So we'll be down to less than 10 in Texas, which is insane.
The pro-choice supporters are in purple, while pro-life activists are in blue. But those in favor of a woman's right to choose significantly outnumbered the other side.
This law is cruel and it is harsh, and it does nothing to advance medical health for women.
If the Texas law does not change, 13 other states with similar laws could be challenged. This is one of the most significant abortion cases in decades.
A change in California's tax code could mean additional taxes for people in debt. Reporter Ryan Thompson has the story of a woman who lost her husband and then got stuck with a big tax bill.
Pages and pages of bills.
My daughters and I were coping just with a barrage of bad financial news and crises.
First, Amanda Nowakowski lost her husband to a surprise cancer diagnosis. Then, she found out she was stuck with her late husband's debt.
All the hard stuff was behind me. I thought nothing else can happen.
She was wrong. After selling her family's Woodland Hills home, donating their possessions, even giving away their dogs, the high school teacher got a $50,000 tax bill she didn't expect.
It really felt like the ground had opened up and I was just plummeting and there was nothing to hold on to.
Nowakowski had sold her home in a short sale. The difference between the home's value and the sale price was considered income, even though she never saw a dime.
That debt, absent any tax breaks in the Internal Revenue Code or the California Code, is income to them. That's called cancellation of debt income, and that's a strange concept. That's actually phantom income.
California had forgiven phantom income until 2015. It's a practice that the federal government continues to uphold. But last fall, Governor Jerry Brown vetoed a bill that extended any state relief. Tax attorneys say there's very little a taxpayer can do but pay.
If you're just a person that's underwater, but you've got other assets around that exceed your liabilities, you're in trouble.
Nowakowski was in big trouble until a friend at work started this online fundraising page. In an amazing show of support, her tax bill was paid off in full in less than 24 hours.
The reaction was to sit on my bed and just cry and cry, and to recognize that for the first time in 2 years, I was crying not out of a feeling of hopelessness.
Former students shared it on social media, and the donations poured in. The money exceeded the amount needed to pay off the bill by nearly $30,000. For Annenberg Media, I'm Ryan Thompson.
Thank you.
Ivy League football coaches unanimously voted to eliminate full contact practice completely. We hear from players next.
See how firefighters learn how to protect themselves and save others while fighting the flames.
Trojan students rally together to fight for more use of solar energy at USC. They tell us why change needs to be made.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so one more finger if you're not very active. One finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Firefighters are always coming to the rescue. Today, they learned how to protect themselves and each other in this dangerous line of work. This training program created real-life scenarios for practicing rescue techniques. One instructor we spoke with says it's very important for firefighters to learn how to protect themselves from getting injured or even killed.
Well, the purpose of the program is ultimately to save firefighter lives. On the average, we have about 88 to 100 firefighters die in the line of duty every year. Everything that you see out here today, every technique that we're showing is because someone in an event like what we're teaching passed away.
Firefighters learn these life-saving drills at the Frank Hodgkin Memorial Training Center. The center is named after a fireman who died while on duty nearly 40 years ago.
The California drought has reshaped people's attitudes and everyday habits. While most are focused on water conservation, renewable energy is also taking center stage. USC students rallied on campus this afternoon to promote solar power. Waleed Elatrish reports they're trying to convince the university to switch to this free and natural source of energy.
This is the hour for solar power. This is the hour for solar power.
Dozens of students rallied next to Tommy Trojan to encourage the school to support solar energy. The group, called Environmental Core, says the university has made little progress over the last few years, and they are now running out of patience.
They pull anything they can out of the hat. You know, it's from oh, we can't work with LADWP, that our contract doesn't allow us, which was a lie.
Environmental Core believes the adoption of solar energy would make USC a cutting-edge and forward-thinking institution.
The Princeton Review found that 69% of students, incoming college students, consider sustainability as a big factor in the schools they go to. And USC has no public display of any type of renewable energy. So in those terms, we feel that it's going to be tremendous for USC to install solar panels.
But the group says the obstacles run deep in the system.
They don't want to upset their donors, which are almost exclusively oil barons, fossil fuel industry families.
Students believe that it's the lower management that has been actually resistant to this initiative for years, deflecting the issue onto other departments. So by reaching out to the president directly today and delivering a letter to him, this was considered a first.
To see that the letter was accepted, I think that we're starting to get our place at the table. I feel that there's still a long way to go, especially when you compare us to our peer institutions who are doing a lot better in terms of these issues.
Annenberg Media reached out to the administration, but we did not receive a response. The Environmental Student Assembly encourages students to keep the dialogue going if they want to make a difference. For Annenberg Media, I'm Waleed Elatrish.
So, Suji, I'm a bit of a procrastinator here, and I don't have any weekend plans. Do you have any idea what I should do?
You know, I don't either, but what about the weather? Let's toss it over to our weather anchor, Hannah Vega, for more. Hannah.
Thank you, Suji. Maybe I can help you guys out with those weekend plans. But first, currently we have fair skies, 60 degrees, and humidity is high at 80%. Looking at tomorrow's highs, we'll head east towards the desert. In Riverside, you'll see that it's going to be 78 degrees, and in Palm Springs, a high of 90 degrees. Over to Northridge, you'll see it's 72 degrees, and down in Malibu, 66 degrees. Over to Orange County in Anaheim, You'll see it's going to be 73 degrees, and over here at USC, 69 degrees. Over the next 5 days, it'll be a little bit chilly. Sunday being one of the coolest days at 64 degrees, and you'll see that showers are very likely, and we'll probably have that over the weekend. I know I'm ready to jump in some puddles. I guess that means we'll have to get our outdoor plans out of the way on Friday. So, don't know if that helps you out a bit in figuring out indoor activities.
Well, that makes it easy. I'll just have to stay in this weekend. Thanks for the weather, Hannah. Now, Ivy League football coaches want to stop players from tackling one another to the ground during practices. They say this is an effort to reduce brain trauma and other injuries. Players we spoke to had mixed reactions.
I understand where they're coming from. I think concussions are a big issue today, and the Ivy League's always at the forefront of moving the game forward, so I think I support it.
It's actually a good idea for some people since concussions and other injuries are very high nowadays. But I also think it kind of takes the fun out of it.
An Ivy League spokeswoman said that the rule change still needs to be approved by athletic directors and school presidents. It could be finalized in May or June.
So Scott, it was an exciting week for sports. What do you think?
Well, I think it was a really exciting week. And with more on sports, we got Natalie Calabat here. Natalie.
That's right. Things are heating up in the pool. Men's swimming is in Seattle for the Pac-12 championships, looking to bring home another title. On the sand, the defending national champions beach volleyball opened their season in Malibu this weekend. And USC men's hoops is currently tied for 6th place in the pack. But the Trojans could finish as high as 4th or drop as low as 10th tonight. Sports is next, so stick around.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Welcome back to ATVN. Men's basketball hosts Oregon State tonight at the Galen Center at 8 p.m. Both the Trojans and the Beavers are 8-8 in the conference, tied for 6th in the Pac-12 race. As the Pac-12 action dies down after this week, everything remains up for grabs. The men of Troy hope to break the tie for 6th tonight. In their last meeting, the Trojans came up just short in Corvallis. Men's basketball looks to close out the regular season with a win while hosting Pac-12 leader Oregon on Saturday at 1 p.m. The Ducks have defeated USC in their last 11 games. The defending Pac-12 champions and number 9 men's swimming and diving look to bring home that conference title for the 2nd year in a row. The men of Troy are coming off of one of their best dual meet seasons ever. Divers Colin Pollard, Dashel Enos, and Dion Reed light up the men quite well as the Trojans head into this week in the number 1 spot. The swimmers start the meet off with the 200-yard medley and 800 freestyle relay. The events following tonight's relays include the 500-yard freestyle, 200-yard IM, 50 free, and closing Thursday's races with the 200-yard freestyle relay. Prelims start at 11 a.m. and finals start at 6 p.m. It was an all-around team effort last night at Long Beach State for men's baseball. They look forward to host Mississippi State at home on Saturday. And of course, the Crosstown Showdown at Dodger Stadium on Sunday. Since the start of the 2016 season, the Trojans have had some solid pitching, but when it comes down to it, the offense and defense have just not been coming together, which has caused them to just fall short against some of their opponents. The number 22 ranked Trojans return home to host Oklahoma on Friday and Mississippi State at Dato Field on Saturday. To close the weekend on Sunday is the Crosstown Showdown for the Trojans. They play UCLA at Dodger Stadium on Sunday at 3. The number 1 ranked defending national champions women's beach volleyball will open their season this weekend.
I feel really great. We're really excited. We're ranked number 1 right now, and we have our hardest tournament coming up first. We play Pepperdine, Hawaii, UCLA, and Long Beach, and they're really tough top teams, but we're so excited to start and can't wait.
The women of the beach look forward to setting off the season this weekend in Malibu at Zuma Beach. They will battle Hawaii and Pepperdine on Saturday and complete the weekend against UCLA and Long Beach State. This week for my spotlight, I'm highlighting senior diver and teammate Colin Pollard. Colin captured the Pac-12 championship title on the 10-meter platform last week in Seattle. He spoke with Annenberg Media today about moving on to the NCAA championships.
It's always hard to come off from a big win. I mean, that was really emotional. It was a super exciting moment. It was like really a surreal moment, to be honest. But yeah, so going in, kind of had to have like all my celebratory, everything, celebrate with my family, teammates, and coach. Came back, just got right back into it.
Colin's 2 highest scoring dives of the platform event were his reverse 2.5 somersault pike and back 3.5 somersault tuck on the 10-meter platform. He received personal best scores on both dives. The points Pollard earned in his platform title helped lead the USC men this week for the swimming portion. He looks forward to the home stretch of his diving career at NCAA's and Olympic trials. So, what'd you think of some of those dives?
I'm proud to be a Trojan.
I'm very proud to be a Trojan.
Yeah.
And shout out to your diving team, Natalie. Pac-12 champions this past week.
Thanks, guys. Several cities in Los Angeles took part in National Read Across America Day.
See the special surprise that some lucky kids in South LA got earlier this morning.
The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
Visit ready.gov/earthquake today.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Let's do those pearly whites, man.
Yeah!
The boys, check it, yeah.
Stand up, do my challenge, gonna compare us. Go!
Ooh, cute.
Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
Hey girl, what's up? What's the name? What's good? What's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir.
See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Well, that's all the time we got for tonight. We thank you for watching Annenberg TV News from everyone here at Annenberg Media.